My name is Stephanie Slack, and I was born and raised in a small town in Northern Ontario. I am a single mom, and I've been a single mom for pretty much my entire parenthood journey. I have 3 kids. My oldest is going to be 9 in June, and then I have a 4-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. My son in particular is very energetic, very outgoing. He's very high energy. So he is a handful, very busy. So sometimes as a single mom, I have a hard time trying to balance everything between providing for the family, nurturing the kids, taking care of the family. So that's just a little bit of background about I'm a young mom. I'm 30 years old. I just turned, oh my gosh, I'm 31. I turned 31 this year. Right now I'm not working. I chose to leave my job at the beginning of the summer last year to help my son get prepared for school, because he's born in December, so he started when he was just 3. So I was really struggling with mostly my 2 oldest children. My daughter, who will be 9 in June, she's been great and she's a wonderful child, but she started getting some of that attitude. So a little bit of back talking, a lot of saying, no, I don't want to do that, or purposely pushing my buttons or annoying her siblings. And my son, once he turned about 3 or just over 3, he has some problems with internalizing his emotions, regulating his emotions. He's a very physical child, so he would hit right away out of anger before, sometimes even before his smile would be gone. He would hit and then he would frown. So a lot of issues with that. And I was trying to deal with it the way my parents raised us. I was trying to deal with it the way society told me I should be. I was reading all different types of parenting books, and nothing felt right to me. Nothing really was working for me. So during that journey of looking for resources, I came across on Facebook actually a post about the Parenting Outside the Lines, and I tried I think it was a free weekly challenge that I started first. So but those were the main issues, just really some beginnings of behavior issues, me not knowing how to resolve them because everything I had tried wasn't working. And I really found myself becoming the mother who would say, no, you don't do that because I said so. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. That's the way it is. I was just sort of at the end of my rope, and I was, it's awful to say, but I was done being empathetic, and I was done being the nice mom. I felt, okay, if that's not working, maybe I'll be that strict bad cop mother, and maybe that will work. And it did work in the short term, but every night I would go to bed and realize that by treating my children that way and talking to them that way and just saying what I say goes because I'm the mother, it doesn't matter what you want, I know what's best, I was really pushing my kids away. I was really just increasing that distance that was already growing between us. And I would go to bed feeling so guilty and so upset. I would cry a lot of evenings because I just didn't know what to do. I wanted to be a good mom. I love my kids. I wanted to be there for them and help them. And it just was not happening at all. And the behaviors were getting worse, not getting better. And the one thing that really, I guess the sort of when I decided, okay, I have to try something different, was one particular time, my 4-year-old son, he did not want to get dressed. He was going to miss the school bus. He didn't want to get dressed. He didn't want to go to school. And I didn't even think, okay, let's find out why he doesn't want to go to school. Let's see what's wrong. I just immediately thought, okay, he's doing this on purpose. He's trying to bother me. He's being difficult on purpose. And I got so angry, and I picked him up and I put his boots on him. I put his coat on. I put his backpack on, and he was crying the whole time. I kind of pushed him outside. The bus was there, and he wouldn't go. So I went out and I took his hand and I half walked, half dragged him to the bus, and I pushed him up the bus stairs. And then when I backed away, he was looking at me like I was a monster, like I was the most horrible person ever, and that was so hurtful to me. And I realized I do not want my children to listen to me out of fear. I don't want them to think that I'm not there for them, that I don't love them. So that was probably the main circumstance, or the main thing that happened that really pushed me into looking more into the conscious parenting and the parenting with love, those types of things, which is how I stumbled across the program. So. Oh gosh, it's so amazing. It's I'm a skeptic about a lot of things, just because I've tried so many things and failed at so many things, or they have failed me. So I'll be honest, I was a little bit skeptical at first, thinking, this is probably just going to be another thing that's not going to work out, or it will work for a short period of time, or I won't be able to get the hang of it. But there were so many practical and applicable tips and suggestions and solutions to the main issues that I was having with my kids. And I was just so happy to see that. And, because a lot of times it's just sort of a one size fits all. It's you tell your kid you're the parent and you stick your ground. And the deep dive was so much more than that. I know why my children do what they do now. I know so much more about how their brains work. I know so much more about myself. I have changed so much as a mother and as a person. My entire look on parenting has changed. My entire look on just being a mother has changed. I don't feel like I have to be that super strict, no leniency whatsoever mother, which I always felt, because I'm a single mom. I always felt I had to be both the good guy and the bad guy, and I was being the bad guy too much. It's not black and white like that anymore. There's so much more in between. So I've learned so much. Like I said, I understand it now, so I'm better able to help my children. And one of the things one of the little sayings or phrases or quotes that really stood out to me was, your children are not being bad on purpose, or they're not trying to cause trouble for you. They're struggling. And I love that. And with my son especially, that is so true. And through this course, I learned that he struggles to regulate his emotions. He struggles to internalize them. He struggles to express his emotions. And without this course, I never would have known that. I think I always would have assumed that he was a bad kid, and that he enjoyed pushing my buttons, and that he enjoyed being naughty, and that maybe he got a thrill out of that. And that's not the case at all. So that is something I'm so happy about. My relationship with all three of my children has improved so much. I feel so much closer to them. I can tell that they feel so much closer to me. Now when my son gets into a fit, it's not so much a tantrum. It's more of a lashing out and then crying. But now, once he starts crying, he asks for a hug. He asks me for a hug, whereas before he would push me away or run away because I was yelling at him. So now I'm not letting him get away with the bad behavior. There's still consequences for bad behavior, but I'm able to show him love and grace and mercy while he is struggling. So it just helps so much. And then with my daughter, my oldest daughter, I've realized through this course that she is not jealous of her younger siblings. There's quite an age gap, so 3 and 4 and then 9. So I never thought there was any jealousy or any harsh feelings, anything like that. So through this course and just talking to her and taking the steps and the advice that I've learned, I've sat down with her. I've carved out one-on-one time for all 3 of my kids, which is possible even though you're a single mom, married, working, anything. It's just even 5 minutes is I learned the kids appreciate it. So just through talking to her and using some of the conversational examples that I got through the course, I found out that she doesn't feel like I spend enough time with her, and she feels like all my attention goes to the little ones, and she feels like essentially, and she didn't say this, but I know that it was what she was feeling, she feels like I love them more than I love her. And I've also realized that I'm hard on her. I'm harder on her than I am on the younger ones because I feel like she's older. She should know better. She should be the role model, the example. So again, through this course, I've learned that my beliefs are not based on truth. They're more based on maybe something I grew up with or something I thought was the truth, but it's really not. So that as well has really changed my relationship with my oldest daughter. There's much less attitude and fighting with me. She's more willing to help me, and I love the time that I get with my kids now. And like I said, sometimes it's only 5 minutes a day for each of them, but that has become so precious to all of us. And I don't think that I would have necessarily done it the way I did it without the course. So I'm very happy with the results, and I'm very happy with all that I've learned, and it's still a work in progress, just like any family is. There's always learning, there's always growing, but we are in such a different place than we were 7-8 weeks ago before I started this course. So take a parenting course or go on a diet or anything like that, you do it because you want results and you want to learn. So I have to say that's probably what I like the best. But about the course in particular, one of the things I really liked was that we were given a lot of examples. So your child does this, you can do this, or this. Then your child says this. Then you can try this, or this. So I really like that we were given examples to try, and it was more than just one. It wasn't just you have to do it this way, and this is the only way you can do it. Okay, give me 1 second and I will, okay? So there were lots of examples. There was lots of homework, which I enjoy. Personally, I enjoy that. I learn best by writing things down, looking over things, working through things in my head. And a lot of the homework was difficult, not academically, but difficult because I really had to dig deep into my own heart and my own mind, and I had to admit a lot of things that I would much rather have denied about myself and my views and my worldview and how I was doing things. So I really liked that the specific examples to try more than one specific example for different things. And I liked that the homework that we got, or the resources we were given, that really dug deep. And not only as a parent I've evolved, but just as a woman in general, I feel so much more confident in myself in all areas of life because of this course. It really is a deep dive into your brain and your heart, and how your child's brain and your child's heart and the relationships. It's so much more than just a mother-child relationship. So that's another thing that I really liked about this course. So one of the things that really surprised me, I guess there's two things that kind of surprised me. So the one thing I kind of already mentioned, I've kind of always been a skeptic about anything that I haven't tried or seen personally. It's just part of my personality. So I was quite surprised that I actually really enjoyed it right away. And as soon as I started looking into it and reading and watching the videos, it just made sense and it felt right. It felt like this was going down the right path for me. So that surprised me just because I wasn't expecting that. And I wasn't expecting that feeling so soon either. And the other thing that really surprised me was, I would say maybe about 4 or 5 weeks in, and I've actually seen other moms say the same type of thing. She heard you. Sorry. So one morning, we had just finished breakfast. My son is a very picky eater. It's very, very difficult to get him to eat. And that's one of the areas that we struggle and have battles. So breakfast was finished. I was cleaning the table. The kids were playing nicely together. And I actually thought to myself, that was a really nice breakfast. I still kind of had to feed him, but there was no complaining, there was no arguing, there was no fighting. And then I thought, you know what? I don't actually remember the last time we had a really difficult meal. So I actually had to stop and think for a minute and think back and think, you know what? Like, I think the last time I was really struggling with the kids and feeling at the end of my rope, like I used to every single day, was weeks ago. And that, not to say there wasn't still struggles. Of course there was. There always will be, but they were so small in comparison to what had been before. And I didn't even really realize, I don't think until that point, that everything was working. And I had created habits out of these things. Normally a habit is difficult to create, but this style of parenting, because it just felt so right and you guys had laid it out so, it was very detailed, but very easy to follow. So I think it was just so easy to create that habit, that I didn't even realize I was parenting in a conscious parenting style until I stopped and thought about, it's been weeks since I've been at the end of my rope. It's been weeks since I've had a huge outburst. It's been weeks since my kids looked at me with fear because I'm screaming at them. It's been weeks since I've really felt disconnected from my kids. So that was another huge surprise to me, is that it really works without even putting work, without feeling like you're working at it. Like, at first I thought, okay, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to make sacrifices. It's going to be huge changes, but it wasn't at all. There were changes, and obviously there's a little bit of work, but it was nothing like I expected. It was so easy. And it was simple to do, the way you guys laid it out, the way there was practical tips that we could do every day for every situation, and every relationship, not even just kids, like mother-child, even just relationships with my parents and relationships with my friends too were better. And I didn't even realize that until, maybe 4 or 5 weeks in, that it had been weeks, and all my relationships had been so much better, and I didn't feel like it was work. I didn't feel like I was making sacrifices. I didn't feel like it was hard. So that was another huge surprise to me, and a very happy surprise. So I would just say to anyone, if you have specific struggles in parenthood with your children, or if they're just more general struggles, or even if you're not struggling, this is such a good course to take, because It not only helps you as a parent, it helps you as a daughter, sister, wife, friend. It helps you learn about you, and it helps teach you about your children, and it teaches you and shows you in a very easy to follow way how to put into practice conscious parenting. So, I would really just say that it's really changed my life. It's changed my children's life. It's changed my mind about parenting. I never really used to enjoy parenting. I've always been content as a parent, loved my kids, but I struggled a lot. And I enjoy it now. I really enjoy it. And I enjoy doing the types of things that you guys laid out for us in the course. So I would just tell anybody that's a little bit on the fence, if you're looking into courses right now, it's probably because you're feeling like there's something more you need to learn or to do in order to thrive as a parent and thrive as a family. So if you're at that point, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by doing this deep dive course. It's 6 weeks. It's not a huge amount of time. There's so many resources, and there's so many other women doing the course with you, being there to support you. You're not alone. Yourself and Amanda were such great supporters, always asking what we needed, questions. So there's the support, there's the knowledge, there's a sisterhood almost while you're going through it, which is amazing to feel as a woman. And it changes your life, it changes your parenting. And I would, and if cost is a factor, I would just say that I'm a single mom with 3 young kids, and no job. I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. So for me, finances was a big concern. But you know what? I am so grateful that I took the jump and the leap and did this, because there really isn't, it's so corny to say, but there really is not a price you can put on your relationship with your children. And after finishing this course, I gladly, would have paid double the amount for what I got out of it. So that's, I would really just say anyone who's on the fence, anyone who's on the fence, you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Your relationship with your children is the most important part of being a mother, of being a parent, of being a father. And the course is just laid out so well to guide you through it, take you through it. It doesn't feel like work, it's fun, and you get results. I guess the one thing that I would also like to let other people know is, because I did look into so many other books and courses and programs on parenting, the one thing I really love about conscious parenting and about the deep dive course and how you and Amanda teach is that it focuses on love. It focuses on loving your children, loving yourself. It focuses on understanding your children, understanding yourself. It focuses on working together as a team, as a family, being your best self and bringing out your child's best self. It focuses on changing the negatives and strengthening the positives. It's just so positive. And for me, that was really important. I love the fact that there was nothing really negative in it. It was all positive, focused on love, understanding, empathy, growing together, sharing together, being a better you, bringing out your child's best self. And I really like that. So I think that's the only other thing I would like to add.